it or prove it, I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
And welcome into the Prep Classic preview. Steve Schneider and Troy LaBeouf to get you started here. 16 teams, huge fan bases, all excited about making their way. Troy, we've got 6 teams that are back from last year, and I'd have to say at least 5 of them are probably favorites to get it done.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Obviously, getting to Poydras, this is where everybody wants to. You want your last game to be in the Superdome. I mean, obviously, win is better, but at least the last game be there. So semifinals were so important. We had so many good games to get us here. It's super exciting.
Another thing that makes it exciting is the 10 teams that weren't there last year. A couple of schools have never been before, punching their tickets, which certainly gets those communities amped up. There are also a handful of teams that were there 2 years ago when we launched the network and you were on the sideline with us.
Yeah, we had some exciting times 2 years ago with some of those teams. They're back. We'll talk about them today, but man, just so many good football teams and really good football teams that didn't make it but had great seasons.
Got 6 players off our Work Done watch list that'll be in action, including 2 from Edna Karr, which is obviously the prohibitive favorite among all the teams that are playing, going back-to-back in the Superdome against their rival St. Aug. One of 3 district rematches. When has that ever happened?
You know, we talked about it all season long. We did our show on Friday nights. I mean, some of those districts were so strong, and you see it with some of these teams, Catholic leagues, up in the North Louisiana. Again, no Lafayette area teams this year, too. There's just so much competition across the state.
The divisional format, the 2 years we've done, has worked out. When we come back, we'll start talking about the matchups and the storyline.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
So it's going to come down to this.
Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute! There's a flag on the play!
Protect what matters most to you and find out the many ways you can benefit. 100% free tuition and fees to all state colleges. Job training in over 150 different career fields, healthcare, pay, and much more. The Louisiana Army National Guard, part-time service with lifelong benefits. Find out more by visiting www.lang-recruiting.com.
The LHSAA Network TV app features a 24/7 live channel as well as on-demand content with all the high school sports you want, and it's totally free. The app is available for download on TV-connected devices, including Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. It's the only place where every day is game day. Download the LHSAA Network TV app today.
Welcome back to the Prep Classic preview. The lineup is tremendous. Starting on Thursday at noon, we'll be on the air at 11:30 with a pregame show. You've got Haynesville coming back to take on Mangum. Haven't been there in 10 years. Also Riverside Ascension Catholic. 2 teams very familiar with each other. Dunham is back for another shot at a title. Calvary Baptist, after missing last year, will be their opponent.
Yeah, obviously some really good matchups. If you look at that first day, it's just jam-packed with interesting matchups, teams that know each other very well.
North DeSoto and Iowa will kick off our Friday coverage, again on the air at 11:30, kickoff at 12. After that, it's Gina Sterlington, a 1-2 matchup. Sterlington looking strong, trying to go back-to-back. And then St. Charles Catholic and Shaw, a rematch. Certainly a storyline we're going to see.
Yeah, obviously Shaw, they played in week 10, St. Charles and Shaw, and that was a shutout by Shaw.
And then on Saturday, the heavyweights step into the Dome. The Division I non-select, a 14 seed, Ouachita up against Ruston. Edna Carr and St. Aug, both there in the city. Rivals will duke it out for the final of the 8 championship games. We're going to bring in Spencer Verrett now, who's been around the state covering all these teams. He's got some of the top storylines in the Dome.
Thanks, guys. Some huge storylines to watch here as we get ready for the Prep Classic. Starting off, we've got 3 district rematches in the Dome. Starting off, St. Charles taking on Shaw. Again, they won 24-0 in the regular season. I tell you what, 2 good coaches, Hank Tierney and Wayne Stein, they'll have their boys ready to go for a rematch. And you don't want to really look at what happened last time. It's hard to beat the team that you beat earlier in the season, again in the playoffs. And we'll say that, we've said that throughout the playoffs a lot with a lot of rematches throughout. And it's kind of become a theme recently, and especially with the team we'll talk about next, Ruston against Ouachita, that the team you play on the second, that when you play on the second time, you normally can end up winning because you think about that first game too much, and it could get out of hand fast. The Ouachita Lions, the 14 seed that have been kind of shocking a lot of people, but for anyone who really watched a lot of these 2-5A games, they know that this team is no shock to be in the state championship game. The first time the Bearcats took on Ouachita, the game was decided by a blocked punt, 21-14 the final score. I'll tell you what, the Bearcats, Jared Ball, they're going to be ready for a really hungry Ouachita Parish team. And then you round out the day on Saturday with the Edna Carr Cougars taking on the St. Augustine Purple Knights. They played earlier in the season. This is 2 of the top teams in the state. We knew that it was going to come down to this at the end of the year. But to get this matchup twice in a year, the amount of hype that's always around this game, Carr, I think, beat them by a lot in the regular season. But I don't think that really showed how close these 2 teams can be at times. I know St. Aug's had a lot of injuries throughout the year, but we're hoping that, come for the Dome time, you're ready, you're juiced up enough that you can take on one of your biggest rivals. Another story to follow in this one, Dunham last year in the Dome just fell short. They lost basically in the last couple seconds an interception on the goal line to Catholic of New Iberia. The Tigers felt confident heading into that one, but the Panthers, who kind of surprised a lot of people down the stretch late in the year, able to get it done. It'll be interesting to see how Dunham will handle it. You go into the Dome one year, kind of the bright lights get to you, but then the second time you get there, you feel a lot more confident about things. And despite how things ended the year prior, you can certainly be able to put it together in the Dome for the year after. And then, of course, you look at Riverside Academy and the team they're playing the Ascension Catholic Bulldogs, who knocked them out of the playoffs last year in the quarterfinals. This was a Riverside Academy team that a lot of people thought maybe they could make a run. They had a really talented roster, and a lot of those guys back this year. They're taking on a Bulldogs team that has surprised a lot of people at times. You've got Trevin Simon, one of basically the leading rusher of all time in the state, and he's got the most touchdowns in a season. So probably a lot of bad blood between those 2, and they'll be in the same district next year. That's all the big storylines I've got for you guys. I'm excited to see what happens down in the Superdome. Back to you guys.
Thanks to Spencer Verrett giving us those intriguing matchups. Obviously, 2 teams that know each other in another game, and then Dunham obviously coming off a heartbreak, being there for the 3rd time in 4 years.
All right, when we come back, we're going to start counting down through the bracket, show you the matchups. Stay with us on the Prep Classic Preview.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The start of school means the start of new sports seasons, which unfortunately can mean injuries. Too often, sports injuries are treated with opioids, leading to addiction among our youth. And drug addictions can cause overdoses and deaths. If you're injured, ask your doctor for medicines and therapies that don't use opioids. And if you're struggling with opioid addiction, we can offer treatment. Opioid addiction is a losing game. You can help. Learn more at realhelpvr.com. That's realhelpvr.com.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau. and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
If you want to break the rock, you need to make yourself indestructible. If you want to play between the hedges, you need to work out there, up there, down there, everywhere. If you want to reach the win bar, you need to lose sleep, lose count. You need to play every game like you got nothing to lose.
The 2025 Prep Classic Preview is brought to you by Coca-Cola, Real Magic, Louisiana Army National Guard, Protect What Matters, Ochsner and the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute, and Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
And welcome back into the Prep Classic Preview. Steve Schneider along with Troy LaBeouf, and we are going to start with the first game, the lowest division select, Division 4. And we got two teams that ended up being 1 and 2, making it all the way through. The top of the bracket there, you got Haynesville that has been the prohibitive favorite all year, the number 1 seed with 2 blowouts, and Mangum, the number 2 seed, equally impressive.
No, you look at two outstanding football teams. I mean, they got it right with the power rankings, 1 versus 2. Haynesville, under Coach David Franklin, looking for a victory, championship number 13, just in the Prep Classic era. The 21st appearance led by their outstanding Isaiah Washington, who plays quarterback. He's an athlete. You see Coach Franklin right there, who took over for his dad. Washington is an athlete that's going to play on either side of the ball at LSU. They don't know yet, but he does everything for them. He plays defense, he plays offense, and also, Donnie Critton is a guy to watch as well. Their running back, that's a name that's very synonymous of the Haynesville area. Steve, they have 4 shutouts in the regular season. Defense is very, very stingy, and they got athletes all over the field.
Yeah, Washington has certainly made all sorts of big plays in all roles, but this is a team that is probably coming into the Dome hungry. They were there last year. South Plaquemine ended up being the storyline as the Hurricanes took the title 10 years after head coach Lyle Feet was there. But this is Haynesville's chance for the Golden Tornado to shine.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously all the pressure is on those guys. They were expected to win it this year, just with everything they had coming back. But I think they've navigated it real well. 13-0, you can't be any better than that. And they obviously going to play a good opponent in Mangum.
Yeah, and a telling thing during the year, they played their rival Homer, and the game was not close, and Homer's got a decent program. So let's hear from the Golden Tornadoes and their outlook heading into Thursday at noon.
You know, there's some really good football players. There's some good football players that will play on the next level, and there's some good football players that will play their last game Thursday. But they're just, you know, they're Haynesville kids. They all have kinfolk that have played football here, and they're what, you know, we want in football players. They all work so hard, and you know, this has been such a we thought about this the other day. This group of seniors has played in the semifinals every year, and they played in the Superdome 3 years out of their 4 years. Not many people get to do that, but the one thing that they haven't done is won one. So we're just excited about this week and another opportunity to hopefully correct that.
Really, we're used to the lights now. I mean, I think that played a big role our first time going. I mean, that was our first time there. Everybody was so excited. I mean, first time, most people, first time even leaving out of Haynesville. So I feel like that would play a big role. You know, we used to the lights, and everybody should just go in there with one thing on their mind. Everybody, since last year, before they even graduated, the last class, everybody was, you know, looking forward to just having, you know, that chemistry with each other, you know, actually locking in and, you know, just being each other brother, being there for each other, and just knowing that football is more than just football.
Starting off at school, everybody was doing good at school, not getting in trouble. Then we came up here to the stadium, everybody got quiet and locked in. We just focused on the game. It's a lot of energy. On game days when it's time to focus, it's time to lock in. Everybody can do that.
Interesting to see those guys dressed. You know, they're way up at the top of the boot where it's cold, but they'll be in the climate-controlled environment again this year. A much more familiar opponent instead of playing the Hurricanes, which is at the other end of the boot. Mangum, the Purple Dragons, 10 years since they've been in the Superdome, a proud tradition, and some good offensive athletes.
No doubt about it. 11-2 on the season under Scott Wilcher. They do not have any state championships, so that's certainly being talked about. And obviously, we know how many that we talked about how many that Haynesville has. Cornerback Reggie Roberson is a Northwestern State commitment, very good athlete, but they got a bunch of good athletes on this team. You know, they're one of the teams that they do play in Division IV non-select as far as the playoffs, but they are in a AA district, which they play up in competition throughout the season.
And they do have a championship, just not one in the Superdome. They have to go all the way back to 1956 before you and I were born to dust off the one trophy that Mangum did claim as far as a football championship. But in the Superdome era, the Dragons have been there, but they have not been able to get it done. Could they be the team that surprises the Golden Tornado? They certainly got a lot of people excited about it. All right, let's hear from the Dragons and what their approach is trying to take on Haynesville.
Well, I thought our team really turned the corner after the second half of OCS game. We played really well, and then it kind of just continued from there. And then going into the playoffs, our kids have been locked in and just playing really well. Hope it continues, but they've done a really good job. Well, I think they're real hungry. You know, we basically challenged them to set that legacy of winning it, but also not just for themselves, to understand how important it is to our community to finally get that win in the Superdome and get that state championship.
It was very special. I came out, I gave it my all, not only for me, but for my teammates and for the fans. The big crowd we had out there, it was a great atmosphere. The spark from this team to be able to get over that hump, it's like everybody wanting, putting in the work, like motivating each other and just pushing each other to go.
Oh, it's going to be a huge turnout. You know, we had a bus fill up in about a day of almost 80 people. So I expect a lot. It's going to be a really great atmosphere to play in. I've seen that our defense stepped up, especially towards the middle of the season when we found that we were a 4-down lineman team. And, you know, once we found our identity, we just got to rolling.
They beat us in 13 and 14, but the deal is Coach Franklin, and even going back to his dad, I mean, it's just been a legacy for Haynesville. They do a tremendous job. They're a really good football team, and it's going to take a great effort on our part.
And Troy, while those fan bases have to make the long trek or even come down a day or two ahead of time to be in the Dome for noon, while they're playing, the guys in the select game, Ascension Catholic and Riverside, not far to come. They'll already be moving into that Superdome anticipating this matchup. And obviously the number 1 seed was knocked off by the Bulldogs of Ascension Catholic, 45-14. 2 seed Riverside kind of cruised through their half of the bracket, setting up a very familiar matchup.
Yeah, I mean, we go from the north and non-select to the south and select, and these two teams know each other very well. Played it 2 out of the last 3 years in the playoffs. Ascension Catholic got just an exhilarating victory last year in the quarterfinals at a 45-40 game. But it just sets up for a big matchup. Two teams that I think were kind of expected to make it back.
The Rebels program, of course, if you follow high school football, you're very familiar how many times the Rebels' success has been shown in the Superdome. They were there 2 years ago, didn't get it done against Southern Lab, but it was a very high-scoring, competitive game. 42-35 was the final in that one, and they have some horses.
They do. You know, 7th time they won a championship back in 2016 under Coach Stubbs. Got some impressive wins over Newman, Washita Christian, Ascension Episcopal. Brock Bourgeois comes back. What's key about him, Steve, he played in the Dome 2 years ago. That gives him some experience from when he was a sophomore. They picked up Jaden Obikwe, who transferred over from East Jefferson. He's been a workhorse. If memory serves me correct, he's got over 1,000 yards and a ton of touchdowns just in the playoffs alone. They're led by that big offensive line, led by Gabe Galvez, a big sophomore. Ahmad Cage is a 4-year starter up front for him. Watch out for Jace Trusclair at the linebacker spot. And then Kenrick Boogie Johnson is a name we learned because he stepped onto the scene with Chris Becknell as a sophomore 2 years ago.
Let's hear from Coach Roussel and his Riverside Rebels in the anticipation of this matchup.
But 2023, we got there. That these guys were 8th and 9th graders. A lot of those guys are gone. Every year is new. Like, it's not even something that's talked about, you know. So, yeah, these seniors know that. You got to go out. It's just the next game, and it just happens to be played in New Orleans in the Superdome.
For me to win a state title as a senior, man, it's one of the greatest things. Like, I can probably live the rest of my life knowing that I went out with a bang. You know, I'm really proud of the class that we have, and I'm really excited, and I know they feel the same way about winning a state title for their senior year too.
It's only 7 of them. I talked about this last Friday. So quantity is not there, but the quality is there. We got some really good kids, some good kids for this school who has led that locker room and is really, really important to them. And it shows up not just on game day, but it shows up on Mondays, it shows up on Tuesdays, it shows up on Wednesdays. They bring it every day. They love this place and they love their football team. So it would mean a whole lot to me if we can send them out the right way.
Winning state title, it means a lot. You know, coming from East Jefferson, I never had the opportunity. So coming here, the culture, the leadership, everything's different. And it's going to be a special moment once we accomplish it.
Man, he's a great kid, great running back, obviously. Really love the energy that he brings to practice every day. It's one of those things where he just adds that extra juice to the offense every day we come to work.
I could tell that this team was different, and we're talented and we got good players, but more than that, I could just tell the locker room was right. And when your best players are your best people and they're the best guys in the hallways and in school and in the community, you normally got good football teams.
Troy on the other side, a purple and gold team. There's a few of those that'll be in the Dome this week, popular colors around the state. And when we did the Dunham Ascension Catholic game at the beginning of the year, we were thinking, you know, Elijah Haven and Dunham could be back there. And lo and behold, these Bulldogs got it done.
Yeah, they did. You know, started out 2-2 earlier in the season. There was a few questions on, you know, would the team could continue to compete. I think they hit their stride. And obviously, number 9 has set all kind of records this year, Trevin Simon. He's been really good, 3,700 yards and 59 touchdowns. So he's been a workhorse, and they're led by that big offensive line, Vaughn Blanchard, Chris Anthons up front, Cole Cassard. And then the defense has improved weekly. You see big Vaughn Blanchard getting an interception right there. Defense has improved. Jacob Julian, Cy Landry, John Rob Daigle, and Rafe Malonzo are 100-yard tacklers for him. And the 4-year starter, Josh Barber, who's about 240. He plays on that D-line, but he also plays running back. For him, Greg Fernandez stepped up at quarterback as a sophomore.
They lost their big-name head coach. People were wondering who would they bring in. I think they brought the right guy.
Yeah, Taylor James has been really good for him. The kids started to trust him earlier in the season. Even after they started 2-2, they really feel good. He just loves to be with the kids, just like Coach Lee Roussel is at Riverside. Both two outstanding young coaches.
All right, let's hear from Coach and the Bulldogs.
I'd like to think that maybe we raised the expectation here a little bit. From being a team that's been close, it's been 8 years or 7 years since Ascension Catholic's been here. I'd like to think this team raised the expectation a little bit, maybe created a new one, if you will.
Especially us seeds, you know, we was always close. Freshman year was semifinals, sophomore was quarters, last year was semis, but we finally been able to kick that door down and make it to the Dome. It's a great accomplishment for us.
To this community, it means a lot to win a state title because we've been there so many times and always fell short.
Our goal here at Ascension Catholic now is to have that culture of the program that's not close anymore, the program that when you get to December you might want to just pencil them in, or you might want to always make sure you know where Ascension Catholic is on the bracket.
I really feel like after the Dunham game, that's when realization hit us. We realized, you know, we need to get better at certain things, and ever since then it's like we've been practicing, we picked up from the little things that we were messing up, and that's been a big part of our success.
Going on the road last week, we knew it was going to be nasty. We knew it was going to be rainy. The whole state fought the elements, the conditions, and we kind of took on the mentality of let it snow, let it rain, let it hail. It doesn't matter. We'll go tee this thing up in a blacktop parking lot somewhere. Just put the ball down and let's play. And I think that was reflected early because our kids were ready to embrace that.
Going into Westminster Christian, we knew they were going to come in on fire because they were having a great season, but we knew we had to stick to our keys and finally kick the door down.
Good luck to both teams. We talked about Dunham. When we come back, we'll
.com. At Breck Golf Courses, we focus on the highest level of play. That means award-winning courses, state-of-the-art practice facilities, unique shot-making opportunities, and tournament-level playing experiences. Perfect setting to test your golf skills. Find your next hole-in-one with Breck Golf.
So it's going to come down to this.
Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute! There's a flag on the play!
When looking for college, I wanted somewhere that would push me and allow me to kind of be the person I'd always wanted to be.
Everyone here kind of has this mindset of seeing the next person succeed. And I think that just creates a Southern Miss spirit.
You find what you need out of Southern Miss. What I need isn't what another student needs, but we all find something here.
You don't have to be what people have said you've been. You don't have to be what people think you are. Like, coming to Southern Miss, you can totally reinvent yourself and be who you truly feel like you are meant to be.
Welcome back to the Prep Classic Preview. Spencer Verrett here on looking at the schedule on Thursday. We'll start off with an 11:30 a.m. pregame show before the first championship of the day, Division IV non-select, Haynesville taking on Mangum. That'll be at noon. Enjoy yourself some lunch. And then Division IV select at 3:30 p.m., Riverside taking on Ascension Catholic. And then rounding out the night on Thursday, Division III select, Dunham taking on Calvary Baptist. Then on Friday, another 11:30 a.m. pregame show. Then Division II non-select, North DeSoto and Iowa at noon, and then 3:30 Division III non-select, the Gina Giants taking on the Sterlington Panthers, and then at 7 p.m. Division II select, St. Charles taking on Shaw. And then on Saturday, two big-time matchups, a pregame show at 11:30, then Ruston taking on Ouachita Parish at noon, and to round it all out, the big-time matchup everyone's talking all week about, Edna Karr versus St. Augustine at 3:30. Spencer right here, joined alongside Troy LaBeouf. And Troy, we've got a big time matchup here in Division III Select. Dunham taking on Calvary. You see the bracket right there. Dunham obviously I think shocked a lot of the state with that win over LCA, 49-48. I mean, that was a classic, wasn't it?
It was. You had to go for the two-point conversion to win it, and everybody thought the ball was going to Jarvis Washington, and they went to KT Chris Thomas, but Elijah Haven and Dunham, Coach Neil Weiner gets it done.
They'll take on Calvary Baptist, a team that's not really a stranger to the Dome. We saw them, 2 years ago against St. Charles Catholic in the Dome. They beat a salty Notre Dame squad in the semifinals.
They did. I mean, that was a game of just back and forth. Notre Dame outstanding under Louis Cook, but obviously Rodney Gwynn of Calvary, they have an outstanding team at 12-1. So big-time matchup.
The Dunham Tigers headlined by one of the top players in the class of 2027, Elijah Haven, but they've got other weapons around them. You mentioned Jarvis Washington. You mentioned some of the other guys as well, and they've got a pretty good defense as well.
Yeah, that night right there against Ascension Catholic on the LHSA Network, that was the night for Richard Montgomery to catch 4 touchdown passes. He's got targets all over that he can throw the football to. I think that's Trevor Heyman. He's going to play some college football. He was injured early in the season, but he's back. I think the biggest maturation process for Elijah, number 5 right there, who's played for 4 years already, plays an 8th grader, is just his understanding of what coverages look like and being able to pick all of that up. Because people try to confuse him, because you can do some nice defensive schemes at the high school level, but he's got it all figured out. They don't have him run a whole lot, but he can run if needed.
I see him do that a lot on special teams, a little fake handoff, and then one takes it or the other takes it. Neil Weiner's got this program in a really, really good spot. They were in the Dome last year, fell to Catholic New Iberia in the last couple seconds, looking for their first state championship since 2004. I think, Dunham defensively can do a lot that makes you struggle as well. I think they've got some good defensive linemen, some good cornerbacks as well. But I think all the focus is kind of on that offense, and if they can keep things clicking, and the Tigers are certainly hoping to keep things clicking. Let's hear from the Tigers and some of their players.
The whole season has really been a special time with our guys. I feel like every week they've prepared really well. They've given tremendous effort no matter who the opponent was, whether it was number 1 team in Division II, St. Charles Catholic, or if it was a team that was down in their luck this year. Our players did a fantastic job every week.
Coach has been emphasizing the work we've been putting in all summer, and just like earning the right to go out and just play the game. And it just showed credit to the team's hard work and success we just put on the field, and the chemistry and the love that we have for one another.
I think being tested on the road leading into the Dome is gonna help us, because we've already dealt with the adversity of not being at an advantage. Last year we were the 1 seed, so we were the home game every year, and that's kind of different this year. And so we figured out how to bounce back from that, figured out how to, last week they had the big fireworks and everything coming out, and we like that. We like being the underdogs. That's our whole thing.
Going down to Newman, it's a really great atmosphere to play in. They got a fantastic tradition when you walk in and the Manning name is on the building that you're playing right outside of. That's a special thing. Going to Lafayette Christian, who's got one of the best atmospheres in the whole state and an incredible tradition. That's a special opportunity that you get. This was the first time in 4 years that we had to go on the road for a playoff game. So it was really good to have our guys have that experience, but to also see them work through it and be successful.
This team's made it to state championship 3 times in the last 4 years, and we haven't been able to come over the hump. So just us winning will probably just change the narrative around school, and it'll be nice to be known as champions.
At our first team meeting in June, we talked about that game and said this is the last time that we're going to talk about it as a team. Now, as individuals, yeah, I put my head down on the pillow at night and I think about the end of that game every single night. So, yes, as individuals, you can't help. If you're a competitor, that's just kind of singed, into your brain.
We're not losing this time. This is our chance, in our eyes, to kind of cement ourselves into the legacy of the school and into the program. And not only that, but give other people, like other coaches that haven't gotten a ring, they deserve that ring.
The Tigers will be hoping to win it all in the Superdome, and they'll be taking on a Calvary Baptist team that I think has kind of been a little bit different than Calvary teams of the past. You look at the team they had last year, they had all those guys on offense that everyone had their eyes on. This year's team, I feel like they play a little bit better on defense than most people have expected, but you look at Braylon Huglin there, that's one of the top players up there in the Shreveport area.
Yeah. Opposing coaches are wondering when his eligibility is going to run out. I think he's got one more year. He's got 21 touchdown catches of the 26 by quarterback. You see Hudson Price finding on a dime right there. You mentioned that defense. Luke Miller leads that defense from the secondary. They're very good, a lot of speed at each level. This is 5th time in the Prep Classic. They know what to expect when we get there. No huge names, but boy, you see, they create turnovers and they create havoc. Zarian Miles is their running back. He's been very good for them this year.
Yeah, Calvary has, taken on teams the past 2 weeks that have been sticking to that. They took on Jules Sumner, who runs that tough nose option. They took on Notre Dame, and now they're going to be going from a team that kind of runs that sort of option offense to going to a team that likes to spread it out a lot with Elijah. But, the Cavaliers can spread things out as well, and, we've definitely seen throughout the years Calvary continue to get back here after they've lost some impressive senior classes. Let's hear from the Cavaliers on how they're feeling ahead of the Prep Classic.
Our expectations are the same. I mean, whether we graduate a bunch of guys or not, we want to be playing in December. That's our goal, and that's what we expect to, and we hold them to that standard. They've gotten more confident every week. They played with a little more confidence, and they never got down on themselves when we didn't do well. They just kept plugging away, and we've been able to be successful.
We are very underrated, I say, because last year we had all the top recruits, like James Simon, Devin Harper, basically everybody on offense and defense as well. So I feel like us being the underdogs, I feel like we had really nothing to lose for us, so we just go out there and play our best. And, last year as compared, everybody expected us to win, go to state and all that. So just being called underrated, that really helped us. Like, we got nothing to lose, so just keep playing our best game.
I'd say underdogs because we're not very big. Our D-line's pretty small. We got like 3 guys, like Mason size, and then Garrett, but they're all dogs. Like, they make plays. Size doesn't matter. Everybody's real coachable. Everybody's good to advice. We're not playing for ourselves. Most of us aren't playing in college. I'm not playing in college probably. But nobody's like playing selfishly for stats or anything. So that's the big thing.
I've been here since a freshman when we first played in the state championship as 2023. So, just making him feel comfortable, tell him that we got his back, just keep him mistake free and, just keeping him up, interception, just kind of like, okay, we got your back, bro. Like, it's okay. We get it next time. So basically just keeping them up, staying strong and making him feel comfortable in offense.
In Division II non-select, we have 2 teams that are the top-seeded teams, North DeSoto and Iowa. North DeSoto coming into this one. They've really been clicking all year with a big win over Plaquemine in the semifinals. Lots of points up there, but they get the win over Plaquemine 58-44, and then Iowa takes down a salty Belle Chase defense, 28-21 to advance. And two teams who have never won a state championship before, history is going to be written in the Prep Classic at noon.
Yeah, no doubt. 56, 51, and 58. That's the points that North DeSoto scored in the playoffs. and you saw the 28-21 identical scores that Iowa was able to play defensively and win their 2 playoff games.
Dennis Dunn with the North DeSoto Griffins, and obviously the name that speaks out to a lot of people is Luke Delafield. He led them there as a freshman in 2022. They fell to Lutcher and Lunch Winfield, but as a senior, they are back in the Prep Classic.
Yeah, Delafield is 4th year starting. You cannot beat experience. He knows, he's seen everything, any type of coverage you want to throw at him. He knows that the Northwestern State signee, again, he's going to be key for him. But watch out for Kenny Thomas. We saw a clip of him earlier, Louisiana Tech commitment. He's got 4,700 career rushing yards, so he totes the rock for him. Porter Doyle is a linebacker that's really good. What I like that Delafield does, he gets the ball to his tight end. A quarterback's friend is a tight end, and Miller Warren's got 11 touchdowns. He's a big target for him. So when he gets in a scrambling mode, he can find that big tight end, Miller Warren.
Wonder if they end up getting the win. I hear a lot of talk about Dennis Dunn and Luke Delafield, always talking about patty melts from a little bit of Whataburger, but this team is playing some really, really good football at the right time. They beat 2 teams. You know, they beat Franklinton in the quarterfinals. They beat Plaquemine in the semifinals. So they're going through some pretty good teams to get here. Let's hear from the Griffins ahead of their matchup in the Dome.
So, you know, me, just a bright-eyed freshman, I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, yeah, you know, like we can do that, which we were good enough to do it every year, but, you know, we just fell short a couple times. But to be able to go back, as a senior is just one of the greatest things ever. I mean, you know, I get to finish my high school career in the pinnacle of Louisiana high school football, so I'm super excited.
We've been playing together a long time. All of us have been starting since our sophomore, freshman year, so we just got that much experience, which is why we've been doing what we're doing, putting up 50 points a game and things of that nature, because it's just natural to come when we've been playing this long and we trust each other, and we got such good teamwork and chemistry, and it's really not a surprise that our offense is doing the success we have this year.
So this senior class, Taylor, is 46-7. That's the record. They've played, 53 games now. So Luke has started 53 games. So pretty incredible run. So I'm just so proud of them. They're special. I'll always remember them. And man, to finish it in the Superdome and have the opportunity to play 14 games. I don't have words to express my relationship with these guys and the joy that they brought me here in the sunset of my career. So it's just been a beautiful experience.
Well, the Griffins in Division II non-select will be taking on the lone team from the 337 area, the Iowa Yellow Jackets under head coach Tommy Johns. Tell you what, as a 2 seed, we came into the playoffs and everyone was like, man, they've got such a tough run. They had to beat a good Lutcher squad, a good Northwest squad, and you had to beat a good Belle Chase squad as well. But this team's got a lot of grit and toughness to them.
They do. Ironically, you know, at 13-0, they've had an outstanding season where they blew out a lot of their opponents. Their closest games have been in the quarter and the semis versus 2 great teams in Lutcher and Belle Chase, teams that are Lutcher that's always there, and Belle Chase who had a really good team this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've got speed all over the place. You see some of the clips there of just some deep balls in and up in the end zone, but I think defensively Iowa can do a lot that, you know, especially last week against Belle Chase. I mean, Belle Chase is basically going to run the ball on you the whole time, but this is a tough group from the 337. And Tommy Johns, I feel like, has got these guys in the state championship game. They're looking to win their first ever state championship. It's got to be fun when you see 2 teams that have never won a state championship, and they're going to be out there trying to win their first one.
Yeah, you mentioned their defense. I would agree with that. Castle Lewis has got 5 interceptions for me. He's a 2027 prospect. On offense, Lawson Broussard, their quarterback, Jamie Adams, and Jeremiah Bushnell's got 11 touchdowns. He's a Houston signee.
He's a good player as well. Let's hear from the Yellow Jackets as they get ready for New Orleans.
That's the thing in the playoffs, man. Deep, you just got to find ways to win, and we were fortunate to do that. We knew both of them were going to be some dogfights, and they were. You know, Lutcher came down to the wire with 30 seconds to go. Kaysen had the interception, and that could have gone either way. And the same thing the other night. And that's the one thing that I've learned is, you know, the ball's going to definitely have to bounce your way if you want to make a run at a state championship, and we're fortunate that it did.
Playing the semifinal game last year, you know, you feel like you just one step away from the dome. You go into that game very confident. It's like once you see that clock hit 0-0 and you realize you're not going to the dome, it just leave a bad feeling in your stomach. So, and whenever we came back this year, you know, we still had that feeling in our stomach, and that just made us like, you know, it made us step it up a notch.
To this community, it means everything. You know, we've been knocking on the doorstep to the semifinals these past couple of years, and, you know, we've been unable to do it. So to finally do it, I mean, we seen the excitement on Friday. I mean, they've been just as ready as we are.
It means a lot, you know, to our community and to our players and all. It's a testament to all the work that they've put in, and you could definitely see it in everybody's eyes after the game on Friday, what it truly meant.
For such a small town, we have so much supportive fans. Like, I could tell we had so much support whenever the clock was almost out. It's fourth quarter and we up in the semifinals. And before I kneeled, I looked at the track and I seen all the fans just ready to storm the field. And that's whenever I realized, like, we really have a supportive community behind us, and it just makes you want to go take that state championship title and just bring it back home for the community.
Lots of excitement down there at Iowa as they get ready to take the trek over to New Orleans. Don't go anywhere. When we come back after this break, we'll sit down and look at some of the best players going to the Prep Classic with Jarrett Roser.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
If you want to break the rock, you need to make yourself indestructible. If you want to play between the hedges, you need to work out there, up there, down there, everywhere. If you want to reach the win bar, you need to lose sleep, lose count. You need to play every game like you got nothing to lose.
Welcome back to the Prep Classic preview. Spencer Verrett joined now by Louisiana versus All Y'all's Jarrett Roser. Jarrett, thanks for joining us. Ready for this year, kind of in the Dome? It's always an exciting time of year, especially to be down in New Orleans. How excited are you for this Prep Classic?
Extremely excited. I mean, the games are incredible. There's fantastic players. There's the opportunity for history that we'll get with some of these teams, and so it's always a fun weekend, and this one is set up to be a great one.
We mentioned players. We'll take a look at some of the top players that you think, and obviously right there on number 7 on the Endicott Cougars, some guy that you really appreciate a lot.
No doubt. Folks can't see me smiling right now, but if you're talking about the talent in the Dome, you've got to start with Big Rich, Richard Anderson, one of the top players in not only the state but the country, the anchor in the middle of that phenomenal Endicott defense. Folks know they just signed 15 Division I players in the early signing period, with big number 7, Rich Anderson, and his teammate, number 0, the safety, Aiden Hall, kind of the headliners of that list. And then you see there another great defensive tackle, Dylan Berryman from Ouachita Parish. He's the top unsigned player in this senior class in Louisiana. LSU fans would love to add him to Rich and company in February, but
And then another guy as well that you look at, Elijah Haven, right? Another huge name, and a lot of huge names here in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Elijah is a junior this year. Folks saw him take this team of Dunham to the Superdome a year ago. He's one of the top prospects in the country for that 2027 class. Same with this guy we're looking at right now, Ahmad Hudson, the fantastic tight end for the Ruston Bearcats. He's a kid that is a multi-sport star on the football field and the basketball court. His athleticism at his size, right up there, pushing 6'7", is really impressive. His body control in the air, his ball skills, and he's gotten a lot more physical and tough over the course of his high school career.
And don't forget about little Haynesville up there in North Louisiana, and this guy right here, right?
Isaiah Washington. How about 3 interceptions in the semifinals, including that pick 6 right there? He's their quarterback as well, and you see what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's been a bright spot the last couple of years as a sophomore and junior for the Golden Tornado in their dome runs, and he and that senior class feels like they're on a mission to try and finally finish the job here.
And one of the state's leading rushers obviously just broke a little bit of those records, but I think I'll call him the Trevin train.
Yeah, Trevin Simon, I don't know that I'd use little in terms of the records and the rushing totals for him this season, but we're going to see some great running backs this weekend in the Superdome. We always do, and Trevin's put up absurd numbers much this season. He and Jaden Obikwe for Riverside Academy, that running back matchup in the Division IV Select game is incredible.
I think one of the more underrated players and underrated quarterbacks in the state. I don't think he gets talked about enough nationally, but it's got to be Luke Delafield.
Sure, we talked about Elijah Haven from Dunham, a top quarterback in the 27 class on a national scale. Luke Delafield, we saw him as a freshman lead the Griffins to their first ever Superdome appearance. Now he and this senior class are back in the Dome. Again, like Isaiah Washington, trying to complete the mission. Luke's been one of the top quarterbacks in this 26 class around Louisiana. His entire high school career, Coach Dennis Dunn said he started 53 games. Don't know how many guys in the state have done that, and he's up over 10,000 career yards.
And we can't leave out one of the best matchups of the weekend, the bands of Edna Karr and St. Augustine, right?
I'm ecstatic about this. The environment this weekend is going to be awesome. The bands are going to be a huge part of that. Anytime I get a chance to go to a game where there's some good high school bands is one of my favorite games of the season, and we have 2 of the best, I think, in the country in Edna Karr and St. Aug to wrap this thing up in their hometown, New Orleans, on Saturday.
Any of the players that you're really excited to see this weekend?
I mean, how much time do you have? Because, again, every one of these games features not only great teams, but great, talented future college prospects. And so I don't know that there's a game that not only the fans can't be excited about, but college coaches are going to be watching this weekend closely. They always do. And they should be really, really pleased to get the popcorn ready.
I think I saw you mention Lane Kiffin, and he liked it himself. The best in the boot stay in the boot, right? I think that's kind of something exciting as well, that maybe we'll even see him down there.
Yeah, I mean, look, Nick Saban was on College Game Day a week ago talking about the most talent per capita from a state heading to the NFL, and Louisiana traditionally is #1. They're certainly one of the top couple year in and year out, and that's why a guy like Lane Kiffin wants to be in Louisiana, and that's why we have so much fun covering these fantastic teams and fantastic athletes.
All right, well, we can't wait to see you down in the Superdome, and especially down in New Orleans. As always, Jarrett, thank you so much for joining us. When we get back after this break, we'll have the Division III non-select and Division II select previews.
Protect what matters most to you and find out the many ways you can benefit. 100% free tuition and fees to all state colleges. Job training in over 150 different career fields, healthcare, pay, and much more. The Louisiana Army National Guard, part-time service with lifelong benefits. Find out more by visiting www.lang-recruiting.com.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
The LHSAA Network TV app features a 24/7 live channel as well as on-demand content with all the high school sports you want, and it's totally free. The app is available for download on TV-connected devices, including Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. It's the only place where every day is game day. Download the LHSAA Network TV app today.
Dude, you're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys,
somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
it's gonna.
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
The 2025 Prep Classic Preview is brought to you by Coca-Cola, Real Magic, Louisiana Army National Guard, Protect What Matters, Ochsner and the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute, and Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
Welcome back to the Prep Classics Preview. Spencer Verrett joined alongside Troy LaBeouf. And Troy, we've got a real exciting kind of toughness matchup, I guess you could say, in Division III non-select. You look at the bracket, the number 1 seed Gina Giants making their first ever trip to New Orleans to the Prep Classic. They took down Union Parish, who has certainly been no stranger to the Prep Classic, 30-6. And then Sterlington, a dominant display against St. James, 63-38.
Yeah, let's go reverse order on that one. I was surprised with that Sterlington St. James score, but Sterlington their offensive line is top notch. They just play physical football. St. James can throw it all over the yard, but when you run between trenches right there, that's when you see it. And then on the other side, Gina has done it all year long. They were the number 1 seed. They played outstanding football.
Gina Giants under Coach Jay Roark for the first time, but they've been in the semifinals for a while. I remember him telling me after the 2023 game, Joe Spadafora said, hey, your team's going to be back here. And sure enough, for the last 2 years, they've made it back here, but they finally get over the hump. And I tell you what, they've got a tough rushing attack to stop.
They do. I mean, you talk about a guy like Daniel Hatcher, just one part of it. I mean, just physical running backs. They can get the ball to him in space, or they can throw it to him, or whatever you want. They got 2 bell cows back there. And then their only loss this season was to Tioga. Every other regular season win from they scored in the 50s and 60s.
They can certainly put up points, and they don't do it just on the ground. They do it in the air as well. They've got some really good receivers. You look at Zadrian Cooper, number 1, who's just a tall, lanky kid who can get up there and get it. But that offensive line might be the key for both of these teams.
Yeah, you got to win it in the trenches, and you're going to play a trench battle against a team in Sterlington. We'll talk about it in a little bit. I think whoever can, I'm going to steal it, whoever can take the soul away from the other team in the trenches is going to win this game.
Let's hear from the Giants ahead of their trip to the Prep Classic.
I'm not sure if it really set in at that moment, but I just kind of sat back and enjoyed watching everybody celebrate. It's a beautiful moment when you've been working so long, so hard to get to this point, to finally get over that hump is unreal. I'm just so proud of these kids because they believed all year. They've worked their tails off and have become truly great teammates, and I think that's the difference in this year's team and previous years. So very excited, very proud for them. I think being here before, the first year, I don't think our kids really understood the gravity of it. And then I think maybe last year the gravity of it was a little bit too much for them. And then this year they kind of knew what to expect, and they wanted to experience, to get over the hump and have an actual chance to go play for a state championship.
Oh, yeah, it felt weird. I still don't feel it like it's a process and through my head still. I think today is going to finally hit there. They were probably playing it and getting prepared for Turtles. They're somebody you don't want to go down there in the trenches with. They're at practice, they're ready to go at all times, and in games you can rely on them to have their block.
I think it's the most hard-working team Gina's had. I don't think it's the most talented team, but everybody's bought in. We work really hard. I mean, we're canceling school. I think half the parish is going to be down there.
They're very good. They're not missing a lick. They may be better than they were a year ago. Their offensive line is one of the best I've ever seen. You can tell they're extremely well coached. I know Coach Foster, I've known him a long time. He does a great job with them. Defensive line plays so sound, great technique, and they just play hard.
Well, a first-timer in the Dome, the Gina Giants are going to be taking on a team that last year the defending champs in Division III non-select, the Sterlington Panthers under Coach Lee Doty. And this squad, I tell you what, you mentioned their offensive line earlier. I've heard people say that this could be the best offensive line in the state.
Yeah, they air technicians. They're big, but they're technicians. You see a lot of cut blocking. They just want to They want to smash their guy into the ground and just hit the hole real quick. Lee Doty's an outstanding coach, just like Jay Rourke is as well. They won it last year, looking to win it again. Quarterback J. Rob Breen, what a name. He's a really good one. And then in their running back is T.J. Birch, who's a 2027 guy, I'm pretty sure. He's an outstanding athlete. Watch out for Devin Downs, a wide receiver. He's an LSU baseball commitment. They got athletes all over the field, but they want to win between the tight ends, between the tackles. Run the ball there if you can stop it. They did it last week. They've done it every week. Nobody's been able to stop them pretty much offensively. They did have a couple of losses this year, but it was to some really good teams. They lost to Ouachita Parish and Neville. We know Ouachita Parish is here, and we know Neville lost last week. So this is going to be, like I said, who can really be more physical than the other one.
Well, we caught up with the Panthers earlier this week. Let's hear how they're feeling ahead of their trip to the Dome.
Well, I think, our performances against Ouachita and Neville, those guys played each other in the semis last week. Really good football teams. I thought we hung in there and battled with them, all the way to the very end in both football games. And I had a feeling if we could hang with those guys and have opportunities to win that game and at the end of it there, then we'd be fine in our division. Yeah, it's been a really, really good offensive line. We put a lot of work in our offensive line, put a lot of resources in it. We have 3 guys that work with our offensive line, and that's the meeting room right there. I think every guy that wants to be a head coach needs to coach offensive line in his career. I just think it's a great thing. You're taking the guys that really nobody else wants, and you can really motivate them guys, and nobody does it better than our guys do. And, we're just so proud of them.
Well, it's very important because without, defensive line, offensive line, that's the core of the team. And, I think that we all make sure that we are on the same page every single week, make sure that we don't put anyone down, bring everyone up. You have a bad play, on to the next one. Just forget about it. Just do better. That's all.
Defensively this year, we've been pretty dominant. I mean, we had a couple games we gave up a little bit, but it's all about just fixing minor mistakes and coming together, just knowing what to do right. In the big games, it just happens.
It's definitely special. It don't happen every year. It ain't supposed to happen. We work hard for it, and it's always going to be a good time going down there. And it's going to be a good game.
Well, in Division II Select, we have a district rematch between 2 teams who no strangers to each other as we look at the bracket here. The St. Charles Catholic Comets, tell you what, last year a little bit of a down year for them, but they returned a lot of what they had. They took down U-High in the semifinals, 34-27 to advance. And Archbishop Shaw, Hank Tierney, 17 starters lost off of last year's team. They beat Vanderbilt Catholic 27-0 in the semifinals to advance.
Yeah, U-High had a chance to really go ahead with a minute and a half to go. They get extra point blocks. St. Charles is always great on special teams. All 3 phases to win. And on the other side, Shaw had 4 losses during the regular season. They remind me of this Ouachita Parish team. Everybody had them counted out. But Hank Tierney, Wayne Stein, those guys know how to coach.
I'll tell you what, you mentioned knowing how to coach. Wayne Stein, that guy knows exactly what to do. We saw the Comets week 1 on the LHSA network against Newman, and we saw then maybe this team could be really, really good.
Yeah, they only lost this season. You see quarterback Landry LeBlanc right there gets his receiver on the little tunnel screen. But their only loss this season was to St. James. There's the bell cow. Skylar Edwards, he's a tough guy. Liddy, he's a really good athlete. They don't have these big names, Power 5, Power 4 recruits. They just got guys that play football. But this is where they hang their hat, Spencer. Defense. I've had a chance to watch them on the sideline, how they communicate to each other. Jason Brown, the defensive coordinator, Wayne Stein, the head coach, the DB coach, the linebacker coach. You see Coach Stein, don't mess with that guy during the game, I promise you. He's a great guy, but he is serious. They just have a level of communication that's second to none, and they're never out of place. I'm not saying they're going to make the play every single time, but they're never out of place, and they play great special teams.
You mentioned it a little bit. They never really have that guy who's going to go play for the LSU, the SECs, the Ohio States, but they've always just got a bunch of dudes who know what they're doing and know how to play really well. Let's catch up with the Comets ahead of this week.
Not only have we been to the state championship 10 times, it's all happened in the last 22 years. So almost, and I got a bunch of guys in the profession that are great friends of mine, and when I start crying about something, they say, you know what they say.
Jumping to 4A, I mean, at first it was a challenge, but I mean, I feel like now we kind of settled in and we can do good things now.
10 defensive touchdowns this year, and that's just been a game changer for us when our offense can't score points.
We didn't have anybody signing day on Wednesday, you know, so one of our corners, Bryson Calm, he will sign at one point, but I think that's also part of our secret sauce is that when it ends for the Comets, it's the last time most of them put the pads on forever. So they're not looking ahead to what's next. They're looking at this moment about, you know, we just been in the playoffs because we got a great senior class. It's been about we got to win to buy 7 more days together, win to buy 7 more days together. And so I always say the greatest gift a coach can give his seniors is that they know when it's going to end. And it's going to end Friday night one way or the other, because when that thing does end and it's not in the championship, it's very similar to like a death in a family. Like, you know it's going to end at some point, but it's really, really shocking to those young men. And I try to bottle up those moments when we do lose and the hurt that I see on those young men's faces. And I try to tell the young people to look around. And maybe that guy that acts cool and acts like this doesn't matter, he's devastated. And so, you know, I think our kids have just fought to stay together to the final bell, and that's where we are.
Well, in Week 10, the Comets took on Archbishop Shaw and beat them 24-0. Hank Tierney's squad, I tell you what, at the start of the season, I don't think a lot of people had them getting to this moment, but a salty defense and an offense that at times has struggled but been able to do things well. You know, they beat St. James, who obviously had a really good year, but they had some tough losses as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at playoff-wise, they really turned it on. They only gave up 13 points in the playoffs. Their defense is very stiff. Quarterback Alan Shaw, no pun intended. He's a really good player for them. Cornerback Jackson Williams is a Washington State commitment. Washington State's done a good job in Louisiana, come and get some top-tier athletes, but that's just where they're going to hang their hat on. Look, this game, this is going to be a defensive battle between these two teams because both teams have very good defenses, and who's going to make a mistake to give the other team an opportunity? I promise you, Hank Tierney's been around a long time. He was around when I was coaching the last time, and I've been out a long time. You know, they have circled that 24-0 loss, and they've talked about it, and they pounded it into those players' head. Do we want to get embarrassed again, or do we want to step up and win this football game?
Well, let's hear from Hank Tierney and his boys heading into the Prep Classic.
Right now. I'm so happy for these kids. You know, they had a rough end of the year. Everybody was kind of down on us. You know, we won 17 starters from last year's dome team, but we played great defense down the stretch, including tonight. Just a fantastic effort against a really good team, too. It absolutely is, and particularly if you'd have been in the coach's office the Sunday after the Belchase game. We went 2 games, 8 quarters, didn't score a point. First time that's ever happened to me in 40 years. You know, so we could have pulled up the stakes then. You know, we could have shut it down. A lot of people wrote us off, including people that are Shaw fans. Oh, y'all get them next year. But I'm so proud of these kids because they overcame that and came back and just had a great effort all the way through the playoffs.
It's a great feeling. We know that every play, no matter if it's a good play or a bad play, we always have each other's back. And it's really the brotherhood. We all trust each other. We all believe in each other. And we always have each other's back. You know, we love to be the underdogs. We love to be doubted. We faced a lot of adversity all year. It's nothing new to us. We're more than capable of winning it. And I think that's what we're going to do.
The key is definitely going against our own defense. Every day hitting each other, not hurting each other, but going against each other and basically our blocks too. Because we've been stepping up our A game, and then if you don't block right, you lose your spot. So that's really it.
Well, I know what, we don't play St. Charles, and they beat us terribly, so I know those are 2 good teams.
Well, we just took a look at Division II Select. Next up, we have the big boys here on the Prep Classic Preview. Don't go anywhere. We've got more previews coming up after this break.
The LHSAA Network TV app features a 24/7 live channel as well as on-demand content with all the high school sports you want, and it's totally free. The app is available for download on TV-connected devices, including Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. It's the only place where every day is game day. Download the LHSAA Network TV app today.
So it's going to come down to this. Can they do it?
Oh no, they missed it! Wait a minute! There's a flag on the play!
Protect what matters most to you and find out the many ways you can benefit. 100% free tuition and fees to all state colleges. Job training in over 150 different career fields, healthcare, pay, and much more. The Louisiana Army National Guard, part-time service with lifelong benefits. Find out more by visiting www.lang-recruiting.com.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
Welcome back to the Prep Classic Preview. A big weekend at the Superdome starts Thursday, bright and early. We'll be on the air at 11:30 with the pregame for the first game at 12, Haynesville and Mangum, followed by the middle game, Riverside and Ascension Catholic, and the nightcap, Dunham and Calvary Baptist. We'll do it all over on Friday with 3 more matchups, North DeSoto, Iowa, Gina Sterlington, and the one we just talked about, St. Charles Catholic and Shaw, the first of 3 district rematches to close out the Superdome Classic, and of course, Ruston and Ouachita, followed by Edna Carr and St. Aug. Big crowds, big excitement, and let's get into these matchups. Ouachita is a 14 seed. I don't know how many people expect them to be there, but we all knew they had a lot of talent. And when they played Ruston earlier this year, it was a 1-score game. Let's look at the bracket on how they got there. Speaking of 1-score games, they had a 1-score win over Neville for the Lions, and Ruston a 4-point win over Zachary. So tight all the way through, and probably expect something similar on Saturday. Yeah, 2 outstanding programs. Ouachita Parish, they lost 4 games in the regular season, but it was the all-district teams that went deep into the playoffs in that humongous district up north. And then obviously on the other side, you take a look at Ruston, Coach Ball. I mean, they got talent all over the field, Steve. 10th time in the Classic. They've won it 5 times. Big tight end, Ahmad Hudson. It was highlighted earlier. It was talked about. Quarterback does a really good job. They got athletes. Jaden Anding, the LSU, he's got an LSU offer for 2027. Jeremiah Freeman's going to be big in this game. He's a running back. They got to be able to, you see a big play on special teams right here. Freeman's got to be good for him. He's got to be able to help run the football to keep that football away from Montre O'Connor on the other side. They always say iron sharpens iron in that 2-5A district. That's what we saw all year. You see the Lions competing hard, and maybe a play or 2 here. They might have actually pulled off a victory, but Ruston, been there so many times. Their head coach, been there so many times. They're hoping that this is the trip to get a second championship in 4 seasons, and certainly if you go 4 times, you want to win more than 1. Yeah, I mean, I think the pressure, they've handled the pressure very well. It's been on them all year long. I mean, everybody talked about Ruston and Destrehan making it back into this game, but Ouachita said, I got a little something to say about that. And they've got something to say here. Let's listen to the Bearcats.
Yeah, it never gets old. It's one of those things that you really don't know that you ever grow accustomed to it, even though it's been 4 years. We don't take it for granted. I think it's different every year. And, I think these kids are looking forward to getting back there to maybe get a little redemption from last year. I know we're not playing the same team and all of that, but there was a bitter taste after the way the ball game went last year with Central. And I feel like that's kind of been some of the motivation for this year, along with, a lot of people thought we graduated a lot of higher profile players and thought we weren't going to be very good this year. And those kids had to listen to that going into the football season. And so I think between those 2 things, that's given this team a lot of motivation for the season.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, became like a standard around here to not be down there, so it's pretty exciting. I mean, district probably was the hardest that it's been all 4 years that I've been here. I mean,
it's hard to beat a team twice, so they're going to be ready to go. They got a lot of confidence.
It was a great feeling, but now we're on to the next week, and we got to go get back what we should have done last year. Just not listen to all the outside noise, just kind of keep the same thing, and just control what we can control. We want to get back even because we're 1-2 in the Dome right now, so it's just get back even and go do what we need to do.
Very safe to say there's talent all over the place on both of these rosters. I think the difference creating this matchup is that Ouachita Parish, after having so much talent, really started to believe, not necessarily when they were winning these games in their district, but that they were so competitive, that they were close losses. They got a lot of seniors and a head coach who's obviously been successful at Neville and then knocked off Neville to get to this moment.
Yeah, Benji Lewis is an outstanding coach. Third time for them in the Prep Classic. They got a 0 next to the championships. They want to change that. And, they got the football team to do it. Obviously, you talk about Montrell Connor. His dad was an outstanding athlete. They had a really big-time embrace after they won the semifinal game where it was caught all over. He's the engine for this football team. He can make plays with his feet and his arm. DeAndre Mansfield's a defensive back that's really good for him in the secondary. They got athletes all over the field. You can see beautiful catch right here. But it all starts up front with the big guy, Dylan Berryman, who play on both sides of the football. He is tough to block, and he's also did some things for him offensively this year. See Coach Lewis embracing right there. Dylan Berryman's got an LSU Texas. They're fighting over him right now.
31 years since Ouachita has been in the Dome, so obviously that emotion pours out when you get this opportunity. Let's hear from the Lions.
Yeah, I think the proudest thing is that, there just wasn't really a roadmap for it. A lot of teams, Ruston's one of them, that, they've had a long-standing period of success. They're back for the 4th time. Our kids are very, very obviously learning this thing as they go, with no real role model to learn from. These guys, this is a very senior-heavy, team, and so they weren't ready for it to end. So there was a sense of urgency, I think, that may not have been there before. A very mature team, a very, put-together team. They don't clown around a lot and things like that. But, for us still, I think it changed in the playoffs to where the whole team kind of focused in because these seniors have been the mainstay for 3 years. I added it.
Mayfield's great. Like I said, I'm around a group of people I know that I was born and raised up with. So, it feels good to be winning with my brothers. I mean, my dad, he coached me a lot. He told me, when I touch the ball, run it like you're trying to get somewhere. Because you never know when your last opportunity is going to be. So, I just been listening to him and doing what I do.
I hope, I feel like at the Dome it will be that kind of environment. But my hope is that people don't forget that, cool things happen at Ouachita High School and continue to support that way.
The Lions did take home one title back in 1989. They went back 5 years later and couldn't get it done. But that pales in comparison to the select side where St. Aug hasn't been there. There's their name in the final against Edna Karr. Hasn't been there since 1979. I'm hearing the Purple Knight alumni are coming from everywhere to show up for this matchup, but they got to tackle the big dog, Edna Karr, going for back-to-back titles, the #1 seed, and 25 wins in a row.
Yeah, you look at that, the quarterfinals on to the finals. It's basically just a district tournament. They play each other all year long. St. Aug gets a big win, obviously, over Curtis in the semis.
The Catholic League has been ruled by the Karr Cougars and just decided recently that they'll be back in the Catholic League again with this next rotation of classifications and districts. And, of course, it starts with Hollywood. John Johnson, the quarterback who was a Wart Dunn finalist as a junior, leading the show on offense, and, of course, a lot of great defensive talent.
Yeah, they do. Obviously, John Johnson, West Virginia commitment is outstanding. You talk about that defensive talent. Big Rich Anderson, talked about him in the preview.
And that Aiden Hall interception, I thought he was excellent against Catholic. Really exerted himself into that situation in this matchup.
When you got a guy like that, you can completely take away one half of the field. Trey Garrison's a big-time running back for him. He's a Washington State commit. Steve, their secondary, all Power 4 commitments.
Yeah, and good ones. Certainly they create problems, and credit to Catholic. They played a great game. There's Paul stepping in front of that pass there, and there's the head coach, Bryce Brown, who's had so much success, not only in competing on the field, but sending kids on to bigger and better things in college. I got a chance to talk with them earlier in the week. Let's hear what they have to say about getting to the title game for a second straight year.
This team has been playing together a long time. You know, there's some familiar faces in a lot of familiar positions. So I think, you know, the expectation doesn't change, though. You know, even if it's St. Aug, you know, playing in the state championships the first time since 1979, that's not our business.
Coach B, he's not a normal coach. I say he's the best, one of the best in the world, honestly. You know, he don't just focus on what you're going to do when you're on the field. He focuses on what you're going to do after high school, after college, when football is over.
The main thing is, what kind of leader can you become? Can you lead a group of men? And can you finish and win your own state title your senior year? You know, I think that's the challenge here at Carr. Just like John Curtis, you know, there's so much expectation, but it only comes through consistency, though. And I think that's the main thing that we need to focus on this week, is being consistent. It's not more about the plays that we're running, but about how we're doing it.
Our Carr defense, like, we so phenomenal, from the defensive line to the linebackers to the secondary. It's like we play with this motive. Like, we be trying to keep everybody down to zero. Like, we just play with this motive.
We're going to focus on trying to be the most physical, dominant opponent that we're supposed to be on Saturday. You know, whatever they have going on AP2 row is what they have going on. You know, we're going to focus on exactly what we have to focus on here at Carr. You know, I know the city is excited that they're back in the dome, but, you know, they got to come through us first.
Been covering high school sports in this state 47 years, and yes, the talent just bubbles over, but you have to have great leaders, great men coaching them, giving them direction, knowing what they're talking about, earning the respect of their athletes. And in this matchup, you got two of those coaches.
Yeah, you do, and Bryce Brown, but then Coach Valdez on the other side. It was in the high school level. This will be his third team he takes to the Classic, I believe. He did it with West St. John. He did it with St. James. Now he's doing it with St. Aug. And again, it's amazing that they have not won a championship with the talent over the years. Their quarterback, Rashawn Coulon's got 38 touchdowns on the season. He's got a really good running back in Kuhan Davis. Their linebacker, Darren Coates, is a stud at the second level for him. And their defensive back, all-stater from last year, Cyree Gilmore, leads the back. When you have a guy at each level defensively, that gives you a chance to win every game, and they got stud athletes. But I think, to your point, Steve, just the leadership from guys like Bryce Brown and Edna Carr and Robert Valdez at St. Augustine, you got to have that discipline when you got a lot of talented athletes, because everybody wants to rock, and you got to figure out how to spread it out.
And the Purple Knights have overcome lots of injuries this year. They're a young team to begin with, and you used a lot of your best players who are seniors, and yet here they are, still standing. Let's hear from the Purple Knights.
It hasn't been easy. I mean, because you talk about Acadiana, you talk about Rummel twice, you talk about Curtis twice, and we've survived. And now the reward is we go get to play these guys.
Senior class, we want to be remembered as, we want to be different than everybody else. Past 10 years, we lost in the second round. Haven't been in the state championship since 1979, and we want to rewrite history, and we have a chance to do that Saturday at 3:30.
We just got to be locked, and we can't keep looking around, because that was our problem in the first game. It was a lot of people there. You look around like, wow, like we're gonna be in a Superdome playing this, and it's gonna be louder because it's enclosed. I'm telling everybody, just calm down, look at the play ball.
I still got like 200 messages that I have to respond to at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna get to that, but no, I don't. Who can give you advice when a team ain't lost in 25 games? You know, it ain't worked. You know what I'm saying? So whatever they did didn't work. So no, I just think that, like I said, for us to get to this level and how we got to this level, you know, nothing has been easy. You go through the Catholic League gauntlet, go through the Acadiana team that was very, very determined, go through the Rummel team that you have to play again, and then the Curtis game, man. I mean, that was bananas. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you know, right now we just go in there and I gotta tell them one time, we're playing with house money, man. We're just gonna go out there and we want to take all our shots. You know, we're gonna poke the bear.
just an epic way to close things out no matter what happens in that game. Now you've seen it. 8 matchups, 16 teams. You've heard and seen from all of them. We'll come back to wrap up the Prep Classic preview after this.
For over 100 years, our families have gathered together to share with each other our challenges and hopes, to take this light we've been gifted and paint a brighter future for the next generation. The seeds we plant today are the bounty we harvest tomorrow. As farmers, we know that together we're stronger than we could ever be apart. We're the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and we're the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
Protect what matters most to you and find out the many ways you can benefit. 100% free tuition and fees to all state colleges. Job training in over 150 different career fields, healthcare, pay, and much more. The Louisiana Army National Guard, part-time service with lifelong benefits. Find out more by visiting www.lang-recruiting.com.
When looking for college, I wanted somewhere that would push me and allow me to kind of be the person I'd always wanted to be.
Everyone here kind of has this mindset of seeing the next person succeed, and I think that just creates a Southern Miss spirit.
You find what you need out of Southern Miss. What I need isn't what another student needs, but we all find something here.
You don't have to be what people have said you've been. You don't have to be what people think you are. Like, coming to Southern Miss, you can totally reinvent yourself and be who you truly feel like you are meant to be.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
The 2025 Prep Classic Preview is brought to you by Coca-Cola, Real Magic, Louisiana Army National Guard, Protect What Matters, Ochsner and the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute, and Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
And welcome back. We've been sitting on this set for 14 weeks, Friday night in the boot, and now we've gotten a chance to see what the packages for Christmas are. Now we get to open them in the Prep Classic. Excited to be back there for a third straight year with the network.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is going to be must watch. Get your popcorn ready. As you saw St. Aug, he jumped in the stands, that player, because he wants to get his popcorn ready. It's going to be phenomenal. See it in person, and to be able to bring this type of coverage to the state of Louisiana, I think it's outstanding.
For Troy LaBeouf and the rest of our crew, I'm Steve Schneider. Thank you for joining us, and make sure you're on the LHSA Network and Cox and Your View this weekend for a great Prep Classic.
From the beginning, one play at a time.
It's gonna happen all night.
Hartwell steps up, goes over the middle. Morgan catches it. It's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown.
The first lead of the night for the Bearcats.
You're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
it's gonna.
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
The LHSAA Network TV app features a 24/7 live channel as well as on-demand content with all the high school sports you want, and it's totally free. The app is available for download on TV-connected devices, including Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. It's the only place where every day is game day. Download the LHSAA Network TV app today.
Louisiana has Hall of Fame athletes in every sport. And now the newest wave of All-Americans have their own channel, the LHSAA Network, showcasing the best student athletes in the nation.
Anybody in the state know about 32 Minutes of Pain, the basketball, 32 Minutes of Pain. Girls and boys, the late Coach Dixon, Coach Kenneth Dixon, 32 Minutes of Pain is painted on the wall. They know as soon as they walk in the gym, they're getting pressed. Other rival schools, I was told practice with 7 players on the court for basketball to prepare for us for basketball. So if you say the statement 32 Minutes of Pain, everybody in the state know you're talking about Homer, Louisiana, Ellender basketball.
High school sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on one channel, the LHSAA Network.
At Breck Golf, our courses are your courses. A place for family and friends to come together, to enjoy the great outdoors, to work on your swing, or get in the game. It's all just minutes away. With convenient locations around the parish and online tee time bookings, it's easy to find your next hole-in-one with Breck Golf.